Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Sarah, and as always, I'm not alone here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. It's really good to be back with you.
Today's episode feels a little different. The word we're talking about is very familiar, but also very complicated.
Yes, it's a word everyone knows, everyone uses, but very few people truly understand.
Today's word is love.
And instead of rushing through it, we're going to slow down and explore what this word really means in English, in life, and in human experience.
At first glance, love seems simple. It's one of the first emotional words people learn in English. We hear it early, we use it often, and we rarely stop to question it. I love you. I love my family. I love chocolate. These sentences sound natural and familiar, but they point to very different experiences. One expresses deep emotional connection, another expresses long-term care and responsibility, and the last expresses preference or enjoyment. Yet in English, the same word is used for all of them. This is where confusion begins, especially for English learners. The word stays the same, but the meaning changes depending on context, tone, and relationship. If you rely only on translation, it's easy to misunderstand how strong or how light the word love is in a given situation. Understanding this difference is essential. It helps you choose your words more carefully, avoid awkward or overly intense expressions, and communicate your feelings in a way that matches the situation. Love may look simple on the surface, but in real English, it carries many layers.
Exactly. English uses the same word, love, for very different experiences, and that's one of the reasons this word is so complex. Unlike some languages that clearly separate emotional, romantic, and casual affection, English places many meanings under one umbrella. We use love to describe deep emotional connection, like the bond between partners or family members. We also use it for attraction, which can be intense but temporary. At the same time, we use the same word for comfort and familiarity, loving a routine, a place, or a sense of belonging. And sometimes love simply means preference, liking something more than other options. This wide range of meanings means that the listener has to interpret the word based on context. Who is speaking? Who are they speaking to? What is the situation? The word itself doesn't explain everything, the surrounding language does. For English learners, this can be challenging, but it's also powerful. When you learn how love changes meaning depending on context, your understanding of English becomes more natural and more human. You stop translating word by word, and you start understanding intention, which is a major step toward fluency.
When someone says, I love coffee, and I love my mother, we instinctively understand that these two statements are not the same. We don't need an explanation. Emotionally, we feel the difference immediately. One expresses enjoyment and habit, while the other expresses care, attachment, and lifelong responsibility. However, linguistically, English doesn't separate them. It uses the same word in both cases, without changing its form or structure. The language assumes that the listener will understand the difference through context, tone, and common sense. This is important because it shows that English often relies on shared understanding, not precise vocabulary, to communicate meaning. For learners, this can feel uncomfortable at first. You may want a clear rule or a different word, but English asks you to read between the lines. Once you become comfortable with this, your English becomes more flexible and more natural. You begin to understand not just what is being said, but what is meant. And that's where real communication begins.
This means that understanding love in English requires more than translation. It requires context, tone, and emotional awareness.
One of the biggest misunderstandings about love is thinking that it's only a feeling. Feelings are powerful, but they are also temporary. They rise and fall depending on mood, stress, energy, and circumstances. If love were only a feeling, it would disappear the moment things became difficult. In reality, love goes far beyond emotion. It includes choices, actions, and responsibility. It shows up in how people treat each other when excitement fades, when misunderstandings happen, or when life becomes stressful. This is why many long-lasting relationships survive difficult periods. Not because the feeling is always strong, but because the commitment remains. Understanding this changes how you use the word love in English. It helps you recognize that when people talk seriously about love, they are often talking about consistency, care, and effort, not just how something feels in a single moment.
Feelings come and go. They change with mood, stress, energy levels, and life circumstances. One day you may feel close, motivated, and connected, and the next day you may feel tired, distant, or overwhelmed. This fluctuation is natural and human. But love, real love, lasts longer than emotions. It doesn't disappear simply because a day is difficult or a feeling fades. Instead, it continues through actions, patience, and care, even when emotions are quiet or uncertain. Love remains present in how people choose to treat each other, not just in how they feel in a particular moment. This distinction is important, especially for English learners, because many conversations about love assume this deeper meaning. When someone talks about love seriously, they are often talking about stability and commitment, not temporary emotional states.
In many discussions, especially in psychology and relationship studies, love is described as a combination of care, commitment, and responsibility. This definition moves away from romance as excitement and instead focuses on love as a stable, ongoing process. Care means genuinely wanting the other person to be safe, healthy, and emotionally supported. It shows up in listening, empathy, and small daily actions. Commitment means choosing the relationship over time, even when things are not easy or convenient. It's the decision to stay engaged, rather than walking away at the first sign of difficulty. Responsibility means understanding that your actions affect the other person and being mindful of that impact. When these elements come together, love becomes something intentional rather than accidental. It's not just something that happens to you, it's something you practice. Understanding this concept helps English learners grasp why love is often discussed as a verb, not just a noun in serious conversations about relationships and personal growth.
That means love includes showing up when it's inconvenient, listening when it's uncomfortable, staying when it would be easier to leave.
This is important for English learners because when people say love in serious conversations, they often mean behavior, not emotion.
Let's talk about romantic love for a moment, because this is where many misunderstandings happen.
Romantic love is often confused with intensity, strong emotions, passion, and even obsession. When feelings are powerful, fast, and overwhelming, people often assume that this must be love. The excitement, the constant thinking about the other person, and the emotional highs can feel convincing. However, intensity is not the same as love. Intense emotions can exist without stability, trust, or care. They can fade quickly or turn into anxiety and dependence. Love, on the other hand, grows more quietly. It creates a sense of safety rather than emotional chaos. Understanding this distinction is important, especially in English conversations shaped by movies, songs, and social media, where intensity is often romanticized. Learning to separate passion from love helps you use the word more accurately and understand relationships with greater emotional clarity.
But intensity is not the same as love.
In English, people sometimes say, "I can't live without you," or "You are everything to me." These sentences sound romantic, but they often describe dependency, not love.
Healthy love allows space. It doesn't try to control, consume, or define the other person completely. Instead of limiting freedom, it respects it. This kind of love understands that closeness does not require constant presence or constant agreement. It allows two people to exist as individuals, each with their own thoughts, goals, friendships, and identities. Healthy love supports growth rather than replacing it. When space is respected, relationships become stronger, not weaker, because they are built on trust instead of fear. This idea is important in English discussions about relationships because love is often described not as losing yourself in someone else, but as choosing to walk alongside them while remaining fully yourself.
This distinction is very important, especially for younger learners who consume romantic content in English through movies and music.
Now, let's talk about something deeper: self-love.
This term is often misunderstood. People think self-love means being selfish or arrogant.
But self-love is actually about respecting yourself, not praising yourself. It means recognizing your own worth and treating yourself with the same care, attention, and consideration that you would offer to someone you truly value. It's about honoring your needs, acknowledging your feelings, and making choices that reflect your dignity without feeling the need to boast or seek external approval. True self-love is quiet and steady. It shows up in the way you protect your time, make decisions that serve your well-being, and hold yourself accountable with kindness, rather than in words of praise or outward displays of self-flattery.
It means setting boundaries. It means not accepting mistreatment. It means resting when you're exhausted.
In English discussions, especially in mental health contexts, love is closely connected to self-worth.
In many cultures, love is connected to sacrifice, especially for women.
Yes, being patient, being quiet, putting others first. These behaviors are often described as love.
But sacrifice without care can become exhaustion.
English conversations around love are changing. More people now talk about balanced love, love that does not require losing yourself.
Family love is often assumed to be automatic, but it's also complex.
Families can love deeply and still struggle with communication, expectations, and boundaries.
In English, you may hear phrases like, "I love my family," but this doesn't mean love is weak, it means it's honest.
In academic English, love appears less emotionally, but it still exists.
You might see sentences like, "Love plays a significant role in emotional development." Secure attachment is essential for healthy relationships.
Notice how calm and analytical the language is.
Understanding this tone helps learners participate confidently in academic discussions without sounding informal or emotional.
I want to share a reflection here. Many people grow up believing love must be earned.
Earned through success, through obedience, through sacrifice.
And slowly the belief becomes, I am lovable only when I perform well.
This belief follows people into adulthood, into relationships, into work, into how they treat themselves.
Understanding love means unlearning some of these ideas.
A common mistake English learners make is using love without understanding its emotional weight.
Saying I love you carries strong meaning in English.
It's not used casually in all relationships.
Understanding this nuance immediately improves communication and prevents misunderstanding.
Now pause the podcast for a moment and reflect.
Try to complete these sentences in your own words. Love means I feel loved when love is important because
You don't need perfect grammar.
what matters is honesty and clarity. This is how vocabulary becomes part of your thinking.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
If this episode stayed with you, take that feeling into your conversations. You're listening and you're learning.
We'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Until then, and take care.